Hello, welcome to the Caz and Daz show. It is the WNBA free agency special, episode 12. It is Thursday, the 28th of January, 2021. I'm in the kitchen because it's hot stove season. I think that's what they call free agency over in the MLB. And I need an excuse to be in the kitchen right now. So, WNBA free agency, that is going to be the bulk of what we talk about today. Of course, the WBBL final, it has been rearranged. We've got a new date, we've got a new venue, we've got a new time. All of that will be discussed. I've got some things to say. Let's just say WNBL shakeup. Is there a new format for the league upcoming? More on that as we get it. And of course, Caz's Corner. What would be complete without a journey to Caz's Corner? So let's introduce Manchester basketball royalty herself, Caz Bullock, a.k.a. Hoopin' Cazzy B. What is this? You're doing
I'm just making some post-pandemic travel plans. Chicago seems like a nice place. Maybe I'll go visit. Maybe I'll go back.
Did you buy the travel guide today?
That would have been good.
Dedication if you did.
It's from my trip to Chicago about 4 years ago.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all staying safe out there. Let's dive into it, Caz. Shall we just dive into WNBA free agency?
Yeah, let's go, because it's been wild. This has been I think it's only been 24 hours.
I mean, it's not even started yet. It starts officially on the 1st, which I think is Monday. Yeah. So free agency technically hasn't begun, but by God, has it begun, and with a bang. Now, Caz, famously, you support every single team in the WNBA, with the exception of Dallas, which I think is rude. What is going on with this behind you?
Well, we know I'm a Sparks fan at heart, but I'm a Candace Parker fan. I'm a Sparks fan. It's been a tough 24 hours. And what do? Do I stay with the Sparks? Do I pick another team? Chicago, I might need to get a bit more merchandise. There's only 12 teams, Darren, in the WNBA, and I'm going to have covered them all. I'm a very distraught Sparks fan trying to make the best of this situation.
Yeah. Oh God, it's a good thing WNBA don't have a European shop, really, isn't it? Because I'd worry about your financial situation. Let's be honest.
It could get dire very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, seriously though, WNBA, we need those orange hoodies in Europe in an accessible fashion. I need to
pay $54 shipping for them, please.
No. In fact, if you could just have a NBA UK store, that would be great, because I don't really want to pay that import tax from the Europe either. Anyway, right. So why have you turned your back on the Los Angeles Sparks as led by Derek Fisher?
Well, because just in case there's anyone out there that doesn't know, Candace Parker is an unrestricted free agent, and she's chosen to sign with the Chicago Sky. She spent 13 years with the Los Angeles Sparks. She is LA. She is LA, and her legacy was LA, and she's chosen to go to Chicago. She's originally from Naperville, which is Chicago, and she says she wants to go back home. The pull of that draw is too strong for her not to do it, and she wants to win championships, and she's obviously decided that her best chance to win a championship at the moment is with the Chicago Sky and not with the Los Angeles Sparks. She's won every individual award you can think of. She's got nothing left to prove that way. She's got one championship from 2016, and Chicago is obviously the place that she thinks is the best option to do so.
Now, how do you feel? Seriously, as a Sparks fan, you went over there a number of years ago to go and see the Sparks. It's basically how I understand it. So how do you? What was your feeling like? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. In the group chat, we had some laughs, but genuinely, what does yesterday and today mean for you?
As a Sparks fan, I genuinely gutted. Like it's really like heart wrenching because I love watching Candace Parker play, and when there's a team that something just banged outside my flat. Sorry, I don't know what that was. When you've kind of grown up and you're watching a team and you've got a player like Candace Parker and you're just very invested. And when someone's been there for that long, like 13 years, it's
That's a long time.
It's a long time, isn't it? And you don't often get players changing teams after that amount of time. You don't usually get to that amount of time and change. And yeah, I'm genuinely gutted. Like I love watching her on the Sparks. I love the chemistry she has with Necker. And Chelsea Gray, and I just think she's done so much. She's done so much for LA basketball, for women's basketball. She's a phenomenal player, and she's achieved everything she can. And it is heart wrenching because I think WNBA, LA Sparks. I think Candace Parker and Lisa Leslie, they're my two kind of big players. So it's hard to see someone that you admire so much like that leave, because it does put you in this funny situation. Like I want to watch Candace Parker play basketball. I'm obviously going to watch every single Chicago Sky game there is now, but then it sort of leaves you with this funny like, I'm still with the Sparks, but you kind of follow the player. But I've always found basketball to be a sort of sport where people do tend to follow players a little bit more than in some other sports. I don't know if that's the LeBron effect.
I think it is a little bit the LeBron effect, because it doesn't seem like, you look through basketball history. Obviously, I was born in the early 90s, so it was Jordan, he stayed put, and then it was LeBron, and he's travelled. And fans, there are LeBron fans. There are people who are just fans of LeBron. I think there are probably going to be Candace Parker fans who are just fans of Candace Parker.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I don't know what. Basketball seems fairly unique in that. I suppose maybe Cristiano Ronaldo might have that a little bit about him as well.
But I think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a negative thing at all. And also, if the option is watch Candace Parker in Chicago or have her retire in LA as a Spark, I obviously want to watch more of her. So the more Candace Parker basketball we get, the better, no matter where she is. And she's obviously chosen to do the thing that is best for her, which is something that we should applaud with players, because they should be able to have the choice to do what is best for them and put themselves in the best situation with them, even if it's really sad for Sparks fans.
It kind of takes us back to the very foundational question of, why do you support a sports team? What is it in LA Sparks that you support? What is it in Racing Club de Avellaneda that I support? Or in your case, the Chicago Sky, what is it that why do we support a team?
So I think for me, so when the first WNBA game I saw, it was on Sky Sports. I didn't have Sky Sports. My dad used to record it off the TV and drop the video off at my mum's house, and I'd watch it after school. And the first WNBA game I saw was the New York Liberty and Los Angeles Sparks, and I just was like, this LA Sparks team is awesome. I'm gonna support them. And like watching Lisa Leslie, I was just like, yeah, I'm in. And I just picked them like that. Maybe nowadays it's a little bit different. It's different, isn't it? If you're in the country, if you're born in a city.
Yeah.
But when it's in America, we sort of pick a team like that. There's got to be something that draws you in. And I think, what was I, 14, 15? Probably the colours, probably the jerseys. Lisa Leslie was cool. She could dunk. Like, they won. They were a winning team, which, because the games on Sky, they wouldn't show you. They didn't show many, so they only showed you kind of the top tier games.
Yeah.
And just from that, it was just like LA all the way. And then I got to, getting the chance to go out there and watch them. Was just playing the Liberty actually when I saw them. So that was a pretty cool full circle thing. So you sort of you kind of like think, that's my first introduction to the WNBA. I don't want to move along to other teams, but I'm open to all the teams.
It's why in the NFL I've been a Buccaneers fan since the early 2000s. First game I saw recorded on VCR. My uncle gave me. It was a Super Bowl, and before the game, it was like, you got these lads in red, you got these lads in silver. Let's go with the lads in red. The lads in red won. It was a wonderful time for a little bit. Saw them train twice. Never seen them play. But yes. Oh, and then Tom Brady rocked up, and it was like, oh, the last decade has been kind of worth it. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far.
There you go. See this, and then is Candace Parker going to do the same thing for Chicago?
Well, maybe. It's a hard maybe for me because...
Are you not like all the way, this is it, this is the title team right now?
I don't know. I don't know. Because they've got to get past Vegas. And I think Vegas just got a little bit better. Because now the reason, dear viewer, you may have seen me smile, dare I say, almost laugh when Caz said the partnership between Gray and Parker. And what's happened? What's happened today?
Chelsea Gray's gone to Vegas.
Yeah.
Because why not? Why not LA? You couldn't keep your big three, so let's just let them go.
I mean, they've kept Nneka. They've kept Nneka, so that's nice. She's on a multi-year deal, so that's positive.
They've re-signed Brittany Sykes,
yes,
as well, to a multi-year. Taya Cooper, a couple of weeks ago, was re-signed to a training camp contract, and there's obviously a lot of pieces.
Wait, is that it? Just a training camp contract?
Yeah, but I think maybe it was the wording of that, and it's the long-term one.
Okay.
I think that's kind of just what they're all classed as.
Oh, okay. Because I thought she was looking really nice in last season, and
she really was. And her and Brittany Sykes' defensive partnership together, that's going to be good. That's going to be good for LA. And they've got. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, I thought Sykes had an outside shot at DPOY last season.
I'd agree. Yeah. I definitely have her on my long list. And they've got Christy Tolliver, who obviously didn't play in the Wubble, coming back. Chiney Iguamuke might come back as well. So,
I mean, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
It's a possibility.
I mean, anything is possible.
Well, yes, as we found out probably yesterday at this time. But you would hope that LA had a plan because Nneka, Chelsea Gray, and Candace Parker were all unrestricted free agents. So it wouldn't be beyond belief that they would all walk. So you would hope that there would have been a plan in place for them to be going after someone if that did happen. And
I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe they've got this. They're okay losing these two because they've got a foundational piece ready to come in to slot in alongside Nneka. Who that would be, I genuinely don't know. Like who's available? Let's have a look. And a huge shout to the guys at Winsider.com. They are unreal in their content of their coverage of women's basketball. Absolutely stunning. Ben Doll, fantastic. He's awesome. Just looking through their list of the remaining best free agents, and I'm not seeing. I'm seeing a couple of options. Alyssa Thomas, but is she gonna play this year?
It seems unlikely, doesn't it? Or a full season.
Emma Mieseman, I don't know if that's the big move based off her the season she's just come off of. Who else is there? Temi Fagbenle, I'd love to see it, but it doesn't move the needle for me to that level, to that degree of the players that they're losing, and we know how highly we all rate Temi Fagbenle. She's a superstar in British basketball context. Alicia Clark, she's off the table. Essence Carson's off the table. Diana Taurasi, I mean, her and Sue Bird are available.
Oh, could you imagine?
But beyond that, Ariel Powers.
She has just
has she
spoken with. She's just signed with. Minnesota.
Okay. Tina Charles, Kia Vaughan, Glory Johnson.
None of them have the Candace Parker impact. For
Brianna
me,
Jones, any of these names? Candace Dupree. Now, Candace Dupree would be an interesting one. Get her out of Indiana. Sorry, Jamie, but get her out of Indiana. Get her to LA. That's what I'd like to see. But again, is that replacing or coming close to replacing what they've just lost?
The only player for me that would come close to replacing Candace Parker would be Brianna Stewart, and that's not happening.
No,
that's the only player that brings the defense and the offense that Candace Parker brings to that team. And no, I can't. No one's coming close.
And Liz Cambage ain't walking through that door neither.
Who knows?
No, they need her They just need a 3-point shot. I keep telling you this.
We just need a backup 3-point shooter just in case she fouls out. Because as well, so I guess we're jumping here. Kayla McBride has signed with Minnesota, so the Aces do really need some 3-point shooting because we saw how they struggled with that last year. Kayla McBride was their go-to 3-point shooter. She's gone. Get someone else in.
Yeah, I was quite surprised by that. I didn't see that move. I'm not talking like I'm some oracle here, but I didn't see that one coming. That one surprised me a little bit. A couple of other moves of note. Natasha Howard, she was made a core designated player by the Seattle Storm. Now that is interesting because what that allows, or has allowed, is Alicia Clark to. Is she confirmed with the Mystics?
They're in close talks. There was another word. Advanced, yes.
So obviously, most importantly, our defensive player of the year.
Yes.
She wasn't actually league defensive player of the year, was she?
No, Candace Parker was.
Candace Parker. Yeah. Okay. Well. So anyway, the thinking person. No, I'm joking. But obviously, such a huge impact player, and I thought it would have been smart for Seattle to do everything they could to keep her, and maybe they haven't, and maybe she's gone. Let's have a look. Chester Donnelly. Hi, Caz and Daz. What will you be talking about? Sorry, Mr. No worries at all, Chester. You can watch it on catch up on YouTube. WNBA free agency. It is all going off. The big news is Candace Parker is out of Los Angeles. She is in to Chicago. So is Caz, as you can tell by just all of it. Just all of it. Yeah. Rocking a Chicago top. Real Madrid, Cisco Moscow, and Albo Ips. Milan, Barcelona is at the level of Charlotte, Minnesota, New York, Kleinbald. These European teams professionally integrate playing NBA. Sure. I mean, the top teams. I don't know about Milan, but the top teams in Europe certainly can mix it with some NBA teams. Thank you for your comment. So a couple of the big news. I think we've covered a couple of them. Kayla McBride, multi-year deal with the Lynx. That's huge. The other one, Betnaja Laney. Get paid, Betnaja Laney. Multi-year deal, the New York Liberty. Betnaja Laney. Let me just bear with. Is this the cleanest thing in the world? No. But there she is. The most improved player of 2020. 17.2 points per game. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 48% from the field, 51 from 3, 1.6 steal. Betnaja Laney, absolutely dominant in 2020. And she's off to the New York Liberty, who just got a hell of a lot better, in my opinion.
Definitely. Do you know what my favourite thing about Betnaja Laney and that whole graphic stat thing is as well? She was cut by Indiana. Indiana had her and went, nah. She had a point to prove.
I really do not hold Indiana's any of it right now in particularly high esteem, I've got to say. They've got some nice players, they've got some nice pieces, don't get me wrong. but there's just a big disconnect there, and I don't know what it is. And they need help, but they've got a brand new GM and brand new coach just for the 2020 season. So it's early days there, but there's something not quite right with Indiana.
But I do like Laney in New York. I think that.
Sorry, Caz, you broke up when I said that again.
Sorry. I do like Laney in New York. I think that's a nice fit. I think that the pick and roll from her.
We lost Caz a second time there, unfortunately. Is Caz? Oh, hello. You are back. I think the internet all across Britain is a bit sus at the moment.
Yeah.
Caz, are you there? Oh, yes, you are.
Cool.
No, you're not.
Okay. I can hear you.
Oh, well, I can see you now. Cool. Right, Caz, go. You were talking about New York and what you like.
Yes, I do like Bernard Laney in New York. I do think that's a really good fit with Sabrina Ionescu.
Oh.
So, okay.
This is going well, isn't it? All right. We're gonna drop Caz just for a second. Chester Donnelly, you're gonna have to carry this show, Chester. With Chester is missing EuroLeague women. Yeah, rightly so. It has been a fabulous season so far. As Caz is back. Hello, Caz. Apologies for that there.
Yeah, no problem. Does that sound better?
Yes, hopefully we don't lose you. You are breaking up a smidge.
Oh. The weather's kind of bad outside.
So go ahead, New York.
Yeah, I really like Bernard Laney in New York. I think it's a huge loss for Atlanta from the impact that she had in Atlanta. I think they'll really miss her. But that pick up for New York, her playing the pick and roll with Sabrina Ionescu, she brings a bit more of a veteran role to the team, just a bit more experience, which we know they were lacking last year with the rookies. I'm sure New York have got a lot more moves that they're going to make as well. But I like the fit, and good for her going and getting, I think it's a max contract as well. So good for her to get that.
So you talk about Atlanta, and I think I really, really like Bernard Laney. I like her game a lot. I do think, though, with the addition of Sharon Parker, they just got a lot better themselves, Atlanta, even with losing out on Laney.
Yeah, they did completely. And also, they've still got Renee Montgomery and Tiffany Hayes, who opted out last year to possibly come back, whether they're re-signing with Atlanta or moving elsewhere. But so there's pieces due to come back as well. But Sharon Parker will have an impact straight away. And in her position in the post, that's maybe a little bit of what they were lacking last season. They had Elizabeth Williams playing centre, but there wasn't really anyone. I think when she was out, they'd got Kalani Brown, but it didn't always work as well as it will. And Sharon Parker will really bring a lot to them.
Be interested to see, how this team does, because again, they've got Carter, they've got Will, Tiffany Hayes, Shakina Strickland as well. Mm-hmm. So they're a good team. There's a good core there, I think, at least. I expect a much improved season from them, and of course, a long way left to go with free agency. Though I don't know how much room they really have left.
I haven't studied the cap space. That's another job.
Are there any other moves of the free agency that you want to talk about right now, Caz?
So Alicia Gray has re-signed with Dallas, which is that's a really good move for Dallas to keep her, because I think a lot of teams would have been interested in her. She had a really strong season last year, and I would have been interested to see her on the teams like LA or Vegas with that 3-point shooting. But Dallas keeping her, and Dallas's 3-point shooting is ridiculous anyway. So just adding her into that. That's a great move for them. I like that as well. In fact, I've liked a lot of the moves except kind of one or two in particular.
Dallas have 5 draft picks in 2021 draft, including 3 first rounders and 2 second rounders. So,
they can turn that into something.
I mean, they're going to have to, surely. They're not going to. I mean, and Michael was making this point last time as well. They're surely not going to turn. They're not going to draft 5 players and then just make some roster cuts. Surely, to this.
Yeah, it makes sense to trade it. Trade it for a bit more of an experienced player, a vet, because they are a super young team, aren't they, Dallas?
Yeah, very, very young team. As much as Bill Lambert tried to claim that his side was the youngest, I still don't understand quite where he was coming from there. I suppose I could have asked him, but
it's probably best not to question Bill Lambert.
I mean, they had to be fair, they had 4 players plus Bill in practice on more than one occasion. But Dallas, very, very young roster. Really exciting. Had a really solid season. Shame they just missed out on the playoffs last year. Let's see how they go this year. Is there any more, Kaz?
Natalie Achonwa has also signed with Minnesota. So Minnesota there have picked up Natalie Achonwa, Kayla McBride, and Ariel Powers. Ariel Powers is in advanced talks with Minnesota.
To add to Sylvia Fowles,
Nafisa
Collier, Crystal Dangerfield, I think
Lexi Brown,
Bridget Carlton,
Maya Moore.
Oh, maybe.
Okay.
Go on.
If Maya Moore wants to come back and doesn't want to play in Minnesota, we could pop her in LA. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, yeah, of course you'd be okay with that. It's like, hi, would you like the best player maybe in the world, except she's not played for 2 years, but why not? And do you know what it is for LA? It's a name, and LA loves names above all other things. So I'm not a big one for LA sports teams. So I'm not gonna lie.
I am interested to see what LA do now, like who they can get, because LA and Vegas, I imagine, regardless of how they're playing, they're cities that probably don't struggle to get players because of the nature of being in LA or Vegas. But basketball wise, not the distraught Sparks fan. Basketball wise, I think it's an amazing move for Candace Parker to Chicago. I think it's a really good move.
I think so. I mean, best coach in the league? Question mark.
Yeah. Well, and Reeves, yeah. But like the moves that James Wade's made since he's become GM and a coach as well, it's fantastic. He knows what he's doing, and we saw it last year in the clips that we were getting courtside, where he's just explaining the plays. And Candace Parker being able to play for a coach like that as well, it's just going to bring so much more out of her.
It's interesting on the coaching point with Candace Parker in this move. Is we've been talking about this since the start, the preseason.
Yeah.
The WNBA preseason of is her time done in LA, and how much of that is going to be down to her relationship with Derek Fisher. Like, how much do you think, as a fan, how much do you think that, and we saw what happened in the playoffs 2019, how much of that has factored into this decision of, do you know what, I'm going to go home, I'm going to go play with an amazing roster, because the Sky, if they can keep it all together and stay healthy, they are a heck of a team. And the great coach. How much of that just all factored in together?
I think a lot of it, when you look at it from an outside perspective, I mean, I think we had this discussion a few weeks ago, didn't you? I was adamant that she wouldn't leave because it would be, if there was tension there between the two of them, the organization wouldn't pick the coach over the player, which is what it seems like they have done. And the reason I was so high on that was because I cannot even think of another situation that's ever happened. You've got a generational talent, the face of your franchise, and you have essentially chosen the coach over the player. And I can't even.
Not just the coach GM.
Coach GM, yeah. Which. So that's what it looks like, whether that's happened or not, but that's the kind of what it looks like when you factor in that history and everything that's gone on. And as a fan, I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, no, I'm not a fan of this. Because if that's that's kind of what his move has been, isn't it? His first move is to let your franchise player go.
Yeah.
And also, she has just gone, hasn't she? It's not a sign and trade. She's just gone. You've got nothing.
She's
And
just
then
like,
your next, Chelsea Gray just gone as well. It's not a great look. And they might have.
You sent an article to us yesterday. What was that saying about talking to teams, actively talking to teams?
Oh yeah. So Necker's obviously signed the multi-year contract, and there was a quote in an article that was saying Derek Fisher was actively encouraging Necker to talk to other teams to explore her options. As part of player empowerment, which I understand supporting a player, saying if you want to talk to other teams, okay, that's fine. But to actively encourage your players to speak elsewhere, it didn't kind of sit right. It's a bit weird because you should support your players, support the players. But it made it sound like, he was practically on the phone going, Necker, want to have a chat with Dallas? I'll drive you to the airport. It just seems a very strange situation, especially when you've got that core of the big three that they could have been kept together. I know people are saying it was difficult, but they could have. It would have meant pay cuts and things and 1-year contracts, but it was possible to keep the three together for another year if they wanted to run it back and try it like that.
Run what back? And I mean that very seriously. Run what back? Another disappointing exit.
That's the thing, isn't it? So that's why, because they've had 2 disappointing exits in a row, and so this year they didn't have Chennai. They had Necker as that late scratch in the game against Connecticut that was appalling. That was a terrible game. Candace Parker left everything out on the floor there in her last game. Nobody else showed up. And yeah, Necker was a late scratch. Christy Tolliver wasn't there. So the team that they've built, they kind of haven't been able to go at it with everything. And I know that's the nature of sports, isn't it? Injuries and things like that happen. But if you think as well, and this is what I keep coming back to, they were a Jewel Lloyd out of bounds buzzer beater away from possibly finishing in the second spot, having that spot that Vegas had, playing a 3-round series against Connecticut. And in that 3-round series, I think they come out of it the best, because after they lost that game, they went on a bit of a downhill trajectory, lost the positioning, and it completely threw them off. Might not come down to that, it might do, but if they win that game, who knows? And then you're saying, oh, we got to the finals, are we running that back? It's a little bit different. But obviously it didn't happen, but you sort of think that these things could be there, and they're like, oh, we know they've got the talent on that team to get there, and it didn't get there. But maybe this was their window, and it was like, well, if we don't do it this year, we need to do something different, because it's been 2-3 years.
As a coach, as a general manager, I'll go with Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge. Is Danny Ainge talking to Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum saying, yeah, talk to other clubs, yeah, just pick up the phone?
No.
Rob Pelinka's right there. Of course he's not. And to use the line of player empowerment, are you a general manager of a basketball team, or are you a union rep? Because player empowerment is fantastic, and if a player's going to go, and that's fine. And we should just be like, that's the business, that's the nature of it. Have a successful one. Hope we beat you in the game. But don't be like, yeah, you should definitely go and explore all your options. No. No.
You want to be saying, we need you.
We need you. This is the best place for you. Here is the money that we are willing to offer. What can we do?
Yeah.
Stay here. We're going to put a statue of you outside. We're going to raise your jersey to the whatever it takes to keep Candace Parker, one of the, like you said, generational talent, foundation piece. When you think of LA Sparks, who do you think of? You think Parker. You think Necker. Those are the two that and then Taya Cooper, just because she's had a really great season last year. I don't know. It just seems off, and it seemed off from a long time ago. So we will see. We will see how all that pans out. Any more on WNBA?
It's crazy. I love it. I want more, because there can't be another move that upsets me as much as this. So it's all good from here. Nope.
I don't know if that's true.
It
seems true, but I don't think it is true.
Oh, now I'm concerned. Well, so long as Carter doesn't get traded, I'm okay.
I mean, wait, no, but what if she got traded to you lot? That'd be great.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. Okay.
That would be great.
That would solve a lot of problems.
Shout out, by the way, on Twitter to @NYLibertyUK. They're a brand new WNBA fan. They're a New York Liberty Twitter page for the UK. They have literally just got into it, and they sent us a message earlier being like, oh yeah, the ramp up, the free agency ramp up. I'm like, mate, that ship sailed yesterday. Like, let me tell you what just occurred. Yeah, it's great. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see, firstly, the 1st of February when things can actually be official. But also, imagine if this was all a massive ruse and a swerve and Candace Parker signs for Dallas.
What if we're in a DeAndre Jordan situation? It's all done with Dallas and now he stays with the Clippers. Because that was like a done deal.
That was the dumbest move. That was so dumb. Oh, that was so dumb. Now, Chester Donnelly, as ever, superstar, comes in with the questions. I'm missing EuroLeague women. We all are, Chester. We all are. But luckily, it's all on YouTube and some games from last year to go and check out as well. Now, he also says, what's going on with Kursk in their last game? They run hot and cold. I don't trust Kursk. I don't know if I trusted them since the start. Their use of Arike Gumbawale, the legendary figure, just wasn't right from, I don't know, it just didn't seem right to me at all. Caz, what did you see with Dinamo Kursk?
It's weird, isn't it? There's something's going on. Why is Arike getting played 14 minutes a game?
Yeah.
And especially she didn't. So the game we were talking about last week, that incredible one where she scored, Arike Gumbawale scored 13 points in 3.5 minutes to bring them back and win. She didn't start the next game and played 14 minutes. So if maybe there was some question about, I don't know, her the dedication, her play, whatever, surely she's proved anything she needs to prove in the last 3.5 minutes of that game. So you would start her, because I've not seen anything about injury concerns, rest or anything. They need to win to go through. There's still a spot open in Group A to get through. I don't really understand what's going on.
Chester follows up with EuroLeague quarterfinals are looking interesting. They are. They're all but one are settled, and they're all great. The Fenerbahce Galatasaray is the one I say it's the one that I'm interested in all of them, but they've all. That's the storyline I like the most, because of course Angel McCourtry, she played for Fenerbahce for 4 seasons, now plays for Galatasaray, their biggest rival. So that for me has got a little bit of sauce, a little bit of spice to it. Caz, what stands out for you in terms of the EuroLeague quarterfinals? And obviously we're going to have proper preview of that closer to the time. When are they? They're in March? They're in March. And then there's a Final Four in April.
I am looking forward to the Girona Avenida game, because both 6-0. Oh, sorry, Girona were 3-3. Avenida was 6-0, and I'm all in on Avenida. They've been so fun to watch. They've been so good. Katie Lou Samuelson, fantastic. Like, I feel like I didn't see her do this in Dallas. I don't know if she got as much. She didn't probably get the opportunities in Dallas, but she's incredible. She was averaging 21 points a game in the first 5 games, and then had 8 points in the last game. But her defense is incredible. Her shooting's amazing. She can just do everything, and I want to see a lot more of her on the court in Dallas this year. But Avenida have got such a deep team. And they just seem to do everything really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing them against Girona, who struggle a little bit in some of the games, but had that really incredible one against Shio that pushed them through.
And also, look at that group they're in. A group of death. Let's not be around the bush. The other confirmed game is LDLC Aspel Feminine versus Sopron Basket, aka Sopron The Truth. My word. I'm really interested. I'm really intrigued by that game. Really intrigued by it. I think probably Sopron, because they looked unstoppable in the group stage.
Yeah, I agree. And Gabby Williams is just amazing. And her block that's in the top 10 plays of the EuroLeague week.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
A really good block.
On my new favorite team, the Chicago Sky.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, I think Sopron will take that. They're 6-0. Lyon were 4-2. And what's interesting is the winner of the Sopron game goes against the winner of the Avenida game in the semis, and then you've got Galatasaray Fenerbahce against UMMC, isn't it? Because whoever's coming out of Group A
probably big. So yeah, I think we will look to get another guest on next week to have a bit more of a breakdown of all things EuroLeague women. Maybe a friend of FocusHoops that we've not actually seen on the Caz and Daz show before. We will see what we can do.
Does she like ketchup?
She likes ketchup. Life's too short not to enjoy ketchup. Okay, Caz. So that's two big news stories down. Now let's go to a very quick break from our partners, Notch, Mark of Achievement, and then we'll be back to talk WBBL final and WNBL. What is going on with the WNBL?
Word from our sponsors, Notch, the Mark of Achievement, and we are very glad to have them on board with FocusHoops this year. They make fantastic bracelets that look super stylish and really help you celebrate your sporting achievement. They've just launched a basketball collection and we're really excited to be on board with them. Let's imagine that you're a player. Let's say that you're Courtney Vandersloot. You got 18 assists in a single ball game and you want a notch and a bracelet to commemorate that fact. Well, you can do just that. Customize it to your team colors, put the year that you achieved it, and get it the exact size that you need. There are a number of the colors available. Or maybe you're a coach. Maybe you're the coach of a basketball team. Let's just say that you're the London Tyrannosaurus Rex. Your team wears red. You had the league's most valuable player, the MVP, and you want to celebrate that. You want to award them with a great looking notch bracelet. Well, you can do just that. And you can get it saying MVP on the notch itself. That's the charm. You can get the colour you want. Gold is one that I'd go for if we're commemorating the best player in the league. We could even get the team logo, if it's the Tyrannosaurus Rex, let's say, on there. And present it in a beautiful presentation case. Huge thanks for Notch for coming on board FocusHoops.
Hello, welcome back to the Caz and Daz show. My name is Caz. No, I'm not. Then again, I'm Daz, and Darren Porter says so right there. That's Caz over there, wherever she is. Right. Serious business now. WBBL final. It has been rearranged. It has been confirmed who it is between. It is going to be on the 12th of February. So that's in about 2 weeks' time, essentially. Friday, the 12th of February, at the National Performance Centre in Bellevue, Manchester. Great arena. Caz and I have both commentated there on separate occasions. It is part of the live Sky Sports coverage. Coverage starts at 5 p.m. Tip off is at 5:30. The game will be between the Leicester Riders and the Sevenoaks Sun. Caz, just let's go positive for a start for the jump. Caz, what do you make of this?
Getting this game on Sky is great because there was obviously the final was postponed from last weekend, and it was going to be part of a double header on Sky. So it's really good that we still have a double header with the women's final, because we want to showcase the amount of talent that there is in this league. And two fantastic teams, Leicester and Sevenoaks. So it's going to be a great game. Sky's a huge platform to maybe get basketball out there to people that maybe haven't seen it before, or just coming across it, flicking through the channels. 5 o'clock on a Friday. Tip off's 5:30. Normally maybe not the best time, but it's a pandemic. Everyone's at home. Everyone's working from home. It's probably easier for people to watch this time. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. They're the positives.
5:30 on a Friday is not a positive thing. Not for me.
I was putting a positive spin on it.
No, I know you were. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. And anybody who thinks that's fine, completely respect that. And I see the argument. I really do about it's a pandemic. Everybody's home. Don't worry about it. And to an extent, that is somewhat valid. But 5:30 on a Friday. I mean, I know in my day job, this week at 5:30 on Friday, I will likely still be working. Just as and you, yeah. It's best said about that, the better. But it's poor, and it's going on in front before a men's BBL game. That's the bit that rankles with me. This is a cup final, and it's being used as a curtain raiser for a men's league game, and that isn't right to me. That isn't right to me. And it's a final. It's a bigger prestige
event.
It's a bigger event than a league game. No disrespect to the teams involved or the league, because it's the same entity. But a cup final should always go on and have that prominent spot. You cannot seriously tell me that of the 2 time slots, 5:30 and 7:30, that 5:30 is more prestigious time and is going to have the more eyes on it. I'm not buying that. Not for a second. Not when it's acting like a curtain raiser. I see the argument. It's like, well, it's going on first. It's it's the prestigious. I don't agree. I think it was, if there was going to be a time when a women's final has the headline spot, and we know what that headline spot is. It's 3-4 p.m. on the final Sunday, or the second game on the finals day. We see it with the National League, where the women's game goes on first. We see it with the WBBL, and the BBL. Women's game goes on first. It should go on second. There's no reason why it couldn't have that prestigious slot. And especially versus a league game where we've already seen double-header league games where we've had a men's game at 5:30. I don't know. It's just, this is a big game. This is a big day. And it's great that it's on Sky. And if it's like it was going to be on the weekend, then it might be on Access or Arena or the YouTube, whatever. So eyes are going to be able to go onto it. And don't get me wrong, the Sky production is phenomenal. I commentated a game, London Lions, Plymouth, a couple of weeks ago, and Sky were in the house. So they were doing like the Sky broadcast. I was doing the BBL player broadcast. And just looking at how they work, the production, I went home and actually watched the Sky broadcast as well. And it's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. This is all positive. The time slot is disrespectful. And this is what it is. This was a chance to have it be like the real highlight event, and it's a bit of an afterthought.
As I said, the thing I found strange with it as well is just having it on first, the turnaround time that you need to get the second game on. Purely, it's not in the same place, is it? That's irrelevant to. That was going to be the issue on Sunday. I was going to say, if they were playing in the same place, you've got the sort of celebration presentations, but it's not, is it? It's
no, it is.
Or is it? Is it Manchester? Sorry, in Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you've got a final takes longer afterwards, so you turn around to get the other teams on. Makes more sense to have the final on second, and also from a TV perspective, having it on second as well. Like, how many times do you put something on early to watch it, as opposed to how many times do you watch something and then you leave the TV on and watch whatever's on afterwards? You're more likely, I think, to get more people watching it if it's a second game.
Yeah.
Just sort of like that. But it's. I almost feel like I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful that it's on Sky, that it's on such a big platform. But it, like you say, it would have been the opportunity to do it so well. Do it, give it the audience it deserves, and give these players the credit they deserve. Get them, top. This is top talent in this league, and they deserve to be recognised for it.
Yeah, and again, Chester comes in and says it's a bit disrespectful, but it's still good that it's on Sky Sports and they're doing great things for British basketball. I'm not saying that they're not, and I would never claim that. It's just the time slot I've got a problem with, because 5:30 on a Friday, that's not exactly peak time. The 7:30 game, much better, or 7 p.m. as we like to do in the Copper Box these days. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old-fashioned. Maybe I'm not down with the kids with their time slots. But I don't know. And by the way, I just want to make this very clear. When I'm talking about Racing Club Dabe Schneider and their women's team, I am a huge proponent of get the women playing in the Cilindro, the stadium that is more commonly used by the men. And I want them on after a men's game. I want the men's game to finish, them to out of here, get the women's team on, quick turnaround, so that you've got a chance to have this atmosphere remain in place for the women. Like if you go to a sporting event and the thing that you were there to watch goes, and then you've got I've got more bonus sport. Oh great, I might stay and watch it. It's just easy. To me, that seems like an easy win. And this final could potentially have been an easy win in getting more eyes on the product rather than as a warm-up to a men's league game. But that's just me. Maybe I'm out of touch.
And there are BBL games that have started at 5, aren't there? So it wouldn't be changing a BBL time. There's definitely been some I've missed because I've still been at work.
Manchester played one a couple of weeks ago. So it would be a bit harsh on Manchester playing 2 5 p.m. games, but
it's not unprecedented, is it? It's not saying
no. Again, it reminds me a bit of the WBBL and the BBL, like Friday doubleheaders on BBC, which that was good. It was good that it was on BBC, a free service, the national broadcaster, whereas now Sky's behind a paywall, but they're able to invest more in it, so you got that give and take. But again, the 5:30 tip-off was just ludicrous because it was like the best league in the country, the women's British basketball league, played in front of people just coming in dribs and drabs, and it was just very strange and just rubbed me the wrong way, let me tell you. Right. Will you be looking forward to the Belarus game? Of course.
Yeah.
More on that closer to the time. We've been, again, the group chat has been all about the what could we expect to see in terms of a GB roster, and again, more on that when it comes. This is why we need to really kickstart this Discord.
My issue with the Belarus game it's on at 11:30 our time, so I'm not going to be able to watch that because it's on a Thursday.
AM or PM?
AM. So again, I'll be in work. That's even an early tip off though in Belarus, isn't it?
Yeah, that's going to be, what's the time difference? 2 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe?
It's
very early tip off. WBBL, there was a WBBL game today, Caz. Were you able to see any of that? Get any information on that?
I only saw the final score, I'm afraid, because of work.
Yeah. Yes. Unfortunately, and that is the thing when you have a 5 p.m. tip off? 5 p.m. tip off?
Yeah.
On a Thursday. And again, I understand that we're in a certain situation, but that's a wild time to be putting on a game of basketball as Michael Hunter Morris pops in. Evening. Were you at that game, Michael? Were you up in Nottingham doing anything exciting? So, Kaz, what was the final score?
So it was 94-74 to BA over Nottingham, and we had an incredible performance from Cassie Breen, 35 points, and 7 3-pointers.
Just ludicrous. I did see chatter on Twitter saying, like, did anybody do a scout on Cassie Breen because she was tough. Oh, hello.
Jasmine Joyner for Nottingham had 37 points and 13 rebounds, but nobody else for Nottingham seemed to kind of match that. It sounds like a like an exciting game. I did see a few highlights of Cassie Breen, but I do want to go back and watch the full thing.
We are joined now live by Michael Hanson-Morris in a very fetching headset. Mikey, how are you doing this evening?
I have no idea if this is going to work because I'm on a good old public Wi-Fi system sitting at a train station on the way home.
Well, it's currently working fantastic. Where have you been? What are you doing?
I think you know the answer. I literally just got Wi-Fi, so I turned on the stream and heard you talking about the game I just did. So I thought I'd hop on.
So, how did you find it? So obviously you commentated tonight's game, or this afternoon's game, I suppose. How did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mark Clark summed it up perfectly in his post game. I think they've got the best backcourt in the league, and I don't think you can doubt that. Shanice was ridiculously good on the defensive end. And then you've got Leonard and Breen, and when Kennedy can do a little bit of everything, we saw that. And then the way Cassie Breen's shooting at the moment, it's almost unstoppable. I don't actually think Nottingham did a horrendous job on her. I thought they contested quite a lot. She had a couple in transition to get her going, but you're always going to have to give something up in transition, so you give up the 3 rather than a layup. But yeah, she's had 29 in the first half in the league today. She had 26 in the first half of the first league game against Newcastle. Can't say anything other than a special talent and maybe the best shooter we've ever had in the league at the moment.
That is high praise. So do you think that this team is the real deal then, Mikey?
I think they're one short. I worry about their inside ability when they've got the likes of a Joyner, as we saw tonight. She went off. Same thing. How do they match up against the Kate Oliver? If they see Leicester in the final, how does that match up? That's the matchup that scares me. But if the young kids keep developing, I thought Ines Goranova was outstanding in the second half. Like, she had a little bit of problem with the press at the end, but you'd expect that from a 14, 15-year-old. So yeah, they've got a chance. Look, they're a top 3 side. I don't think you can. The way they played tonight, I know Nottingham was short-handed, but Barking were just flat out better than Nottingham tonight. So as soon as you're talking top 3, they're always in the contention for a trophy. So
do you think? I mean, is that something that they should be really prioritising, is success in the WBBL trophy?
I want to say they've got Sevenoaks in the quarterfinal. I've not seen a bracket, but I thought the match report last week that they'd got Sevenoaks. If they've got that as a quarterfinal, then anything's possible.
I mean, what did Ric Flair say? He said, if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. So if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, the year we won the cup in Nottingham, we went through Sevenoaks and Leicester in the quarterfinal and semi-final. That says it can be done, but it makes it trickier. Barking looked good, and if Breen stays hot and the guards play the way they did tonight, they're going to be in any game.
Caz, have you got any questions for our intrepid commentator / reporter, Mikey?
What could Nottingham have done more? You say that they played. They kind of let. There wasn't anything more they could have done. What's their missing piece there today?
Well, look, you've got 3 of the top 8 in the rotation out. So Siobhan was out, Praise, under 18 German international, was out, and Shania Rose, who's probably their best junior. So they're missing 3 of the top 8. So that's always going to hurt. But look, we had 28 turnovers, and Chelsea Shumpert was 5 of 22. Wow, so right. Ultimately, that's not going to cut it. But honestly, look, Chelsea missed a couple of wide open ones, and there's a few I think she'll look back on and go, maybe I shouldn't have shot that. But Shanice was ridiculous defensively tonight. Chelsea's notoriously hard to stay in front of when she puts the ball on the deck because she shoots it so well, and Shanice did that great. And I think as much as the 5 of 22 was, Chelsea didn't shoot great, she was forced into a lot of bad looks. And I say Barking is struggling on the inside. They had 5 blocks in the first half tonight. Chantal Charles had 3 of them. Paige Robinson had 1 or 2, and there's a couple that were like bang plays on stats where I think if you're picky, you could say there was even more more blocks in that both ways. I think Nottingham probably a block or two short. So Barking protected the rim really well as well. And yeah, just first glance at watching them in person, I was like, they've got room to grow, and they were very, very impressive.
So they finally, living up to that London Lions Barking Abbey name.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you look at the quality. I think Mark kind of said it pre-game. The investment has filtered down to the women's team a little bit. So that's how he's got the likes of Kennedy in and Cassie Breen. I don't think that's because I'd imagine no one knows what teams' budgets are, but I don't think you would have been able to sign a pair like that without a little bit of a budget increase in what we've had previous years. So fair play. And to be honest, the other thing I said is I thought Mark did a terrific job in terms of sets and schemes. The way he's using the double staggers for Breen and getting so many different looks off stuff, not just the three, but you saw in the first half she got a couple of elbow jumpers. Kennedy, they looked like they were playing stuff for Breen, and then Kennedy and Shanice attacked on the weak on the strong side 1-on-1 because all the help was up on the double staggers and stuff. So I thought Mark really got a lot out of them as well.
Having seen them, do you want to revise any of your preseason predictions in terms of cup or trophy or playoff winners?
No, because I do struggle if they see like a Leicester in the final, the way Jasmine Joyner went off tonight, 37 and 13. And Mark said pre-game he knew it was going to be a struggle. That's going to be the same struggle we see against Kate Oliver. So that's kind of the question is how they deal with an elite big. But I wouldn't be surprised if they knocked off Sevenoaks in the quarterfinal, if that is what the game is.
Whilst we've got you, the WBBL Cup final, just your overall thoughts, like, is it the right two teams, the time, the venue? Talk to me.
So I was actually had a discussion with Siobhan prior about this after the game. Right two teams, yes. You can't look. Nottingham lost the semi-final to Sevenoaks. There's no two ways about it. Am I surprised that the women's game is first? No. Is it right? No. And I suppose the only question is the date. Now, I know the press release has said Sevenoaks are in the final. The question is, are Sevenoaks playing the final? Are we going to be in the same situation? Because I've not seen anything to say they're definitely coming back. I would assume by that statement they are, because I assume they have agreed to play the final. But I've not seen that. And the ultimate question is, has the needle moved enough in terms of where the pandemic is in the country for them to play, based on the reasons that they gave for not playing? Is that a wait and see, or are they happy with how it is now? And that's a question that you'd need to ask Len or someone at Sevenoaks.
Well, I mean, as you are our intrepid roving reporter, we might leave that in your capable hands, Michael Hanson-Morris. Just again, whilst we've still got you, is there any news on the WNBL that you can break for us?
This is not official. This is me looking at schedules because obviously it was due to start this week, and it seems like everyone's playing each other once.
So as I understand it, that is the requirement to have like a minimum standard for a league. Everybody's got to play everybody at least one time by a certain date. I'm not entirely sure what that date is, but it must be some time before when you'd have playoffs.
Yeah, so it looks like, but it just creates some odd situations. So Nottingham Trent have got 2 games left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some teams are going to have a lot more.
And Anglia Ruskin are going to have a lot of games to play. Let's just take them as an example.
Yeah, but if they're not sure of playing, 2 games isn't going to justify them coming back. They don't currently play a game in March. So how does that leave them for the playoffs if they've not played in 6 weeks?
I mean, are we even going to have a playoffs at this point? I think playoffs should be the last thing on BU's mind.
Well, you're only talking 28 games left to play in WNBL.
I mean,
It's
at this
not a
rate, we'll be lucky to get any games played in the WNBL.
Well, from what I understand, Barking Loughborough still, as of right now, is scheduled to be played at the
weekend. I'm sure he was about to say. We
Obviously-
appear. Oh, he's back. He might not be back.
Am I back? I don't know.
Oh, he is back. Yes, you are. Go.
Yeah, so we've got games scheduled for Saturday. So I assume Barking Loughborough was going ahead because there's still referees appointed and the game's going on. So I didn't ask actually anyone at Barking tonight, but I'd assume that was the case. So yeah, it's just an odd. Look, I think it's the right thing to do because I don't see a path to get 22 games in or 20 games because it looks, again, not anything official, but Bristol on the league table and they're not on the fixture list.
No,
So
I can't even make that one out. Sorry, say that again, Michael. We lost you a second.
Bristol on the league.
Bristol aren't on the league table anymore.
Oh, hello.
And they're not on the fixtures.
I think we've lost Mikey. Caz, are you still there, bud?
Yep, I'm still there.
Fantastic.
So Mikey was just saying Bristol aren't on the fixtures or the table anymore.
You got that. Well, I'm glad somebody did because it completely died on me. Is he gone? I think he's gone. We thank our intrepid reporter and rogue commentator Michael Hanson-Morris for joining us there. And wrapping up basically all of the other news that we may have had to talk about. Final one. Again, huge thank you to you, Mikey. What do you think, Caz, about this shortened season?
I mean, I think it's practical, isn't it? You've kind of got to do what's working at the moment. Like, obviously, we were sort of thinking last year was going to just be the one-off season and we'd get back to normal for the 2020-21 season. Obviously, that's not happening. So we just want to get to the end of the season sort of as safely and as practically as possible. And if that's the way to do it, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if we are going to get games and they are going to be safe, and that's the key thing, are they going to be safe? And they have to be. Because when we talk about the National League, we're talking about elite players, but we're not talking about professional players. We're not talking about, guys that this is their living, they can just bubble. These are quite a lot of healthcare workers, oddly. Teachers, yeah. So really, really important that if it happens safely. It'd be really good to see what the league announce. So, Caz, go on. No, go.
Just off the back of that, we had some news this week about Asia Durr, the New York Liberty player.
Yes.
She did an interview with a station in America talking about. So she was diagnosed with COVID in June, so 9 months ago, and she's having some really severe long-term effects from it to the point where she hasn't been able to pick up a basketball, and she's sort of saying a good day for her is walking to the store.
Yeah.
And she is a young, healthy athlete. And it's just absolutely floored her. She said, she's trying to work her way back into the WNBA, but she may not play again. And that's the seriousness of the situation and the seriousness of this disease. So we want everyone to be healthy, to be safe. We hope Asia Durr takes care of herself, is able to get back on the court and has a full recovery. But it's not it's a super serious thing, this, and we need all the players to be safe and things to be run safely.
Absolutely. And that's a great place to end. Caz, where can people find you?
On Twitter, Hoopin Kazzy B.
Excellent.
Or in Chicago, probably, in a few months. Just wondering.
Just wondering about being like, Candace, where are you? Come home. I'm on Twitter at AuedsTouch, AuEDSTOUCH. Can't promise anything in the way of content, but we are going to keep abreast with the free agency. We've got Caz actually burning a hole in her Twitter fingers, getting out all the news and all the hot gossip. So maybe we might drop in a few breaking news stories or YouTube videos or something during the week. So just make sure that you follow us on social media, Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube as well, just in case we drop a sneaky video between now and next Thursday. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Caz, as always.
Thank you.
Thank you to our roving reporter, Michael Hanson Morris. And that's going to do it for us for this week. Thank you so much for checking us out. And we'll speak to you next Thursday.